Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna. I'm a psychologist specialized in emotional and binge eating. We are our second week in 2024, and I know that some of you decided to lose weight, not necessarily as part of a New Year's resolution, but for some of you it still is the number one thing you want to focus on in January. However, there are some of you that are fearful that you will be in the same spot you were last year when you tried the same tactics of cutting food groups, cutting your favorite foods, cutting alcohol, sugar, carbs, intermittent fasting, so on and so forth. I think that maybe if you are wondering how to approach weight loss, how to approach binge eating, emotional eating in 2024, you could focus on some other things for a change rather than just what is it that I need to cut from my diet to be successful in my weight loss journey. How about we start with assessing all the food rules you have had, and then do they really serve me or not? Does it really serve me that I cannot have anything sweet? Probably not, because I still like sweets. Does it serve me that I cannot have pasta? Probably not, because I like it. Or that I cannot have pizza? Probably not, because I want it. So I would say, first of all, assess the food rules that you have been, maybe using or maybe living by for the last God knows how many decades, and see, are they sustainable? If they're not sustainable, just put them aside and keep those things that you actually think you can do for the long run. Second, let's try to focus on the hunger as a physical hunger and emotional hunger, and the difference between the two. You know that hunger, physical hunger, has physical symptoms. It's the hunger that we feel in the stomach. It's the hunger that comes gradually. It's the hunger that can be only cured with food, but any food will do because you're hungry. And the moment you have done eating, you are good to go. Emotional hunger comes sudden. You are trying to fill a void. You have an urge for very specific foods and you cannot get enough. And because you cannot get enough, you eat a lot of it and then you feel bad and guilty for what you have done. Let's try to not give in to every single quote-unquote hunger pang, because not everything is true hunger. You will hear people say, oh, you might be thirsty. Sometimes you are, but sometimes you're dealing just with boredom, habits, or emotional hunger. Another tip that I would give you is practice hunger and satiety cues. Hunger cues are eating when we're physically hungry, and satiety is having food in front of you and being very present without distractions and eating slower, obviously. You're not shoveling your food because you want to get to that moment where your body is telling you, now it's enough. And that moment exists, except that we choose not to listen to it. Be very okay with leaving food on the plate, storing it, putting it in the fridge or the pantry to eat later. Don't worry about having to eat everything from your plate, because that means that you're actually not listening to your body. You're eating over the satiety norm. Another tip that I would suggest you try is have structured meals. I think for people who are dealing with binge eating and emotional eating, not listening to the hunger satiety cues, they're a little bit all over the place when it comes to how a day should look like. So breakfast is your first meal. I don't really care when it is. Is it at 9, 10, 11, 7, whatever, but that's your first meal, and try to have structured meals every 3-4 hours so that you can get in the rhythm of finishing a meal and then waiting 3-4 hours, and then another hunger cue comes and then you eat again. And my last tip is, when you eat, you have to be mindful of what is on your plate. At the end of the day, weight loss will be about a caloric deficit, right? So bread will not make you fat. A lot of bread will. Pizza will not make you fat. A lot of pizza will. A donut will not make you fat. A lot of donuts will. It's not one food in isolation that will make you fat by eating it. It's the quantity, it's the amount. So it's really unnecessary for you to cut any foods from your diet. If you're paying attention to calories, try to incorporate your favorite foods in your meals as a snack, as part of your meal, or just think of it this way. If you have a certain number of meals per week that you eat, whether it's like 3 or 4 meals per day, so you have 21 meals per week. You can make 16, 17 meals very healthy. You can, cook in a way which is without processed foods, paying attention to maybe your macros if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. But then leave some space for the foods and the meals that are maybe less nutritiously dense, but they're still giving you calories, so that you can be more calm around food, so that you don't have a fear, how will I eat once I get a hold of this food, so that you don't feel out of control or obsessing over these foods. Because you know by now that the foods that you were restricting on your diet were the foods you could not stop thinking about, and the foods that you were obsessing about, and the foods that you ended up binging on. So the advice is, instead of doing that kind of strict dieting way of eating, try a more mindful approach and intuitive eating. And I know that a lot of you are thinking that intuitive eating is not for you because you will eat, pizza and donuts and ice cream all day long. That's not really true, because if you are actually listening to your body will crave both. It will crave fish and rice and a salad and an ice cream. You just have to practice listening to your own body, because intuitive eating, as I have described it, is regaining trust that your body knows best what it wants, without guilt, eating what you want, feeling satiety, stopping when you're full, and moving on with your life. I hope these tips can help you.